Morris Video.
Welcome to the Drive My Way video. My name is Art Sellinger. I join you here today at the Pelican Hill Golf Club in Newport Beach, California. Since originally filming this video, two great things have happened to me. Number one, I was third place in the 1990 National Long Drive, and this past year I won my second title. Fortunately, I haven't altered or changed my swing, so the fundamentals you're about to watch are very valid and things that I still follow. I'm going to make 2 points, though, that will help you after you watch this tape. Just remember that golf is not a rigid game. This game is not one that we set up and we're going to think, kill, and get a lot of tenseness here. We're just going to let that club swing back and swing right through. Okay, now you can't be rigid and achieve a full body turn, which is then would slow down your speed. So just loosen it up a little bit and turn it back. Number two is we can't have the thought of hitting that golf ball. We have to swing the golf club. The golf club will hit the golf ball. Because if we just wind up and think hit, we're going to stop our lower body and just use our arms and hands. Now before we get started with our first fundamental, which is the grip, I'm going to hit a couple shots for you. It'll be a good reference for you to watch my swing now from the one you see in the tape. I promise you, you won't see much difference. So great luck with this video. There are three important areas of the grip: placement of the hands, forming the V's, and grip pressure. I place the club in my left hand in the fingers. I then put my left thumb on top of the shaft. I use the overlap grip by placing the right hand with the right pinky in between the index finger and middle finger. This creates a nice neutral grip. As you can see, I can only see two knuckles on my left hand. I now am in the grip position and I have formed two V's, with the right hand facing the right shoulder and the left hand facing the left shoulder. Grip pressure. Remember, light grip pressure at the address position will keep the club in control throughout the whole swing. If you squeeze too hard, you'll probably lose the club at the top of the swing. Getting in the proper position is established through proper alignment and setup. What I do is put my feet shoulder width apart. My ball position is off the inside of the left heel, and my hand position follows, slightly ahead of the ball. As you can see, my head is approximately 4 to 6 inches behind the golf ball. To align my body, I place my feet in a parallel line left of the target. As you can see, my left hip and left foot are slightly open. This will allow a freer swinging motion to get to my left side. My shoulders are also on a parallel line, just slightly left of the target. Remember that getting in the proper address position determines the path of the club. You will find that when you're in good position from the start, your misses will improve as well as your consistency. To take the club away, I follow my teacher Carl Lauren's advice. Take the club back with the left shoulder first. As you can see here, I'll take the club back with my left shoulder first and not with my hands. If I take the club back with my hands, my shoulder will never get behind the golf ball. Notice here how I keep the triangle constant throughout the takeaway and my left shoulder gets behind the ball. At the top of my swing here, you can see my shoulder has turned behind the ball and it is underneath my chin. My head has moved slightly farther behind the ball as well. This move will ensure that the weight is transferring to the right side during the takeaway. Surprisingly, the hips are a very easy part of the golf swing. All they do is turn. Watch here as my right hip will just work back on the backswing, and on the downswing, the left hip works back. Stay away from lateral hip movement, side to side. Watch here as I demonstrate a proper hip turn. Let's take a look at that swing from behind. And now again in slow motion, and just watch the hips turn here. Here comes the transition, left leg plants, the hips turn back to the left. The legs are the foundation of the golf swing. During the backswing, it is very important to keep the weight inside the right leg and turn around that leg as a post. Never let that leg break down and have the weight get outside of it. And during the downswing, the left leg is your hitting post. You hit against that left side and turn right through the shot. Now watch here as my right knee is going to drive down the target line. Now let's watch that knee work down the target line here from behind. Now we'll play it again in slow motion, and the thing to pay attention to is here is the right knee is a brace. I've turned against that leg, it's my post, now I push off. Just remember that key and your leg drive will be successful. Balance is one of the most important fundamentals in the golf swing. In all my years of competition, I've never seen a good player hit a golf ball far when he was out of balance. Balance is achieved in 4 parts of the golf swing. Number 1 at the address, 2 at the top of the swing, 3 at impact, and 4 on the finish. Let's start with the address position. When I address the ball, I set up with my weight on the inside balls of my feet. Never let the weight get out on the toes or back on the heels. Then you'll be out of balance. Now I'm in my address position. At the top of the swing, balance is achieved by keeping the weight inside the right foot. I am in perfect balance here. My weight is transferred back to my right side. If the weight falls outside the right foot, then balance is not achieved. For impact purposes, when we are down in the hitting area, we want the weight to be transferring to the left side. A common fault I see with a lot of golfers is when they hit at the ball, they fall back, and then they're out of balance, and that's when we get that bad shot that goes way to the right. For the finish of the swing, we need 3 check areas for balance. Number 1, the club over the left shoulder. Number 2, the belt buckle facing the target. And number 3, all the weight onto the left side. If we've gotten ahead of the ball too much, we'll never be in balance on the finish. And if we fall off, we'll never be in balance on the finish. But if we transfer to the left side and hold our finish, we'll always be in balance. The wind conditions and layout of the hole dictate to me on how I'm going to play a particular shot. But whenever I can, I try to play a straight shot. But as you know, a lot of holes dogleg left or right. If we have a hole that doglegs to the left, I'm going to want to play a draw. The way I do that is I drop my right foot back. This closes up my stance. This will force the club on the inside line, which is the way I am lined up. I'll go ahead and demonstrate a draw shot. Let's watch that swing again in slow motion. And as I take the club back, watch as I take the club back to the inside where my body is aligned. And when the club gets to the top of the swing, the club will come down on the inside, directly towards my intended target, the right side of the fairway. The ball will now spin left back to the middle, and notice my full finish. If the hole doglegs to the right, that will call for a fade. I do just the opposite for a fade shot. I open my stance. I drop my left foot forward of my right foot. This makes me line up left of target. This will force the club outside the line. With this motion, that will put left to right spin on the golf ball. I'll go ahead and hit a fade for you. Now let's watch the fade again in slow motion. This is definitely the easier of the two. The club will work to the outside, and now watch as I hit the ball. It's almost like I'm standing up and holding on to the club, but I still release to a full finish. When facing the condition of hitting a golf ball into the wind, there are three things to remember. Number one is tee the ball down. Number two is move the ball back from our normal position. Here we are in our normal position, and now we're just going to move the ball back in our stance. And number three is shorten up the backswing. This will keep you in more control, and just remember the good old saying, when breezy, swing easy. I'll go ahead and demonstrate a low drive for you. And notice in this swing how my club will not reach parallel. Now let's take another look at that swing. Now again in slow motion. It almost looks as if I'm punching the ball. But remember, this swing is based on control. The club is still released. There's no need to guide or steer the shot. Always follow through. When facing the condition of being downwind, this is when I always see my amateur partners try to let one rip. On the contrary, you should just try to keep it smooth. You just make two changes in your swing. You tee the ball up higher, and you play the ball just slightly forward. All you want to do is sweep right up through the ball and make solid contact, and those shots will go a lot longer than you think. I'll go ahead and hit one for you. Let's see that high finish again from behind. There comes a time in the round when you get up on that par 5 and you really want to let a big shot go. What do? Well, I'll tell you what I do. I widen my stance to set up a better base. I just think about taking the club back slow. There's no use getting the club back fast because you don't hit it on the way back, or gripping it real tight. All you think about is being slow and smooth and really staying behind the ball. I also set up with my right shoulder slightly lower. Now watch here as I stay back behind the ball, especially at impact. Let's see that swing again in slow motion. And watch as I'm about to hit the ball at impact. We'll go ahead and stop the club for you. Look how far behind the ball my head is right there. And then again, a big finish to a nice high follow-through. With all the equipment in today's market, it is quite a chore to pick a driver that can be right for you. My particular driver is 44 inches long, 7 degrees in loft, with a titanium extra stiff shaft. That driver, for the average player, wouldn't help at all. He would probably hit it low and way right. When picking a shaft, you should consider 3 points: the stiffness of the shaft, the flex point of the shaft, and the weight of the shaft. This particular shaft is a titanium shaft, and it is a very lightweight shaft. The kick point in my golf shaft is up higher. This forces the golf ball flight to be low. For the average player, it would be best to have a lower kick shaft. When picking a club head, you have metal to choose from, wood, even fiberglass, and now graphite. I use the metal head. The advantage of a metal head is that it is perimeter weighted. Therefore, if I hit a shot on the toe or on the heel, the ball will still go fairly straight. It also has a lower center of gravity, which will help the golf ball get in the air a lot easier. The weight of the driver is broken up into 2 parts: swing weight and overall weight. The swing weight is the weight of the head going through the golf ball. The overall weight is the actual weight of the driver. If you can get a driver to weigh about 13 ounces, you've done pretty good. Now, my driver weighs about 12.8 ounces, but the swing weight is at about D7 or 8. Now, that'll seem high, but just remember, the weight of a swing weight is only the weight of a paper dollar bill. The biggest determining factor in the length of your tee shot is club head speed. The average amateur swings the club between 80 and 90 miles per hour, with the average tour professional approximately about 105 miles an hour. That translates to about a 250-yard carry. I have been clocked as high as 152 miles an hour, but average around 135 or 40. I have the SwingMaker PowerTrack XD here. I use this unit to monitor my club head speed. Let's see what I can get it up to today. Well, just 135. Remember, each mile per hour translates to approximately 2.5 yards.
In the following series of swings, I would like you to watch for a couple of keys. Number 1, the consistent pace of my swing. The speed of the swing has to be fluid. My thoughts are not to take the club back extra slow and then swing as hard as I can from the top, but to just keep a constant rhythm throughout the whole swing. It makes it so much easier for the transition from the top of the swing. But just realize the overall success of your swing and game is still based on the individual fundamentals that we have covered. I find that when I'm in the National Long Driving Championship, it's still those fundamentals that count. Last year I was down to my final shot, needed 310 yards to qualify for the finals, and thought about some smooth fundamentals, taking the club back, turning, and following through. And I caught one and hit it 320 yards. I ended up finishing second, but it was still one of the most exciting shots of my career. I promise you there are no shortcuts or special tricks to hitting the ball 300 yards straight down the middle. It seems when I'm having problems off the tee, it's usually a small problem, such as shoulder alignment or not turning the hips to the target. That may seem like a small problem, but take my word for it. Under the pressure situations, these swing faults can magnify, and that's when the fairway is hard to find. I'm confident that if you follow this program, you will maximize your distance for your body type. I'm not promising you those 300 yards straight down the middle or a national long driving title. But an extra 10, 20, maybe 30 yards will definitely have your partners' heads turning. Best of luck with this program, and I'll leave you with some exciting swings.
Now that you've watched the program, you're ready to apply the fundamentals that we've discussed onto the practice tee. The practice tee is where the golf swing is built. It's where muscle memory takes place. And how I start off every practice session is with my sand wedge. First, by just getting loosened up. All you want to do is build good motion for the day. Just some short, easy swings. You notice I'm not swinging very hard. All I'm trying to do is take a slow, smooth backswing and turn to the target. Now that we're already loosened up, we're going to go ahead and get the 9-iron. Now what I like to do is hold my sand wedge and use it as an alignment guide for the rest of my practice session. What I do is line it up at my intended target. In this case, it'll be the 150-yard sign out there. Now we're just going to go and hit a few shots. We're going to hit with the short irons, the mid irons, the long irons, fairway woods, and driver. That's basically what you want to accomplish when you practice. Even if you have 20 or 30 minutes or 4 hours, that's what you want to cover. But each shot on the driving range needs to be attempted with a full routine swing. As you notice, I'm behind the ball and I'm lining up and getting into my shot. It's not good just to hit and pick balls. You want to go through your routine. Even if you hit half the amount of balls, it's okay. I line up with my intended target and swing right to it. Working on the balance, getting to the left side, turning. These are all the things we've covered. All I'm trying to do is practice them so that they're memorized. Again, the basis of this is to pretend I'm on the golf course. That's what the practice tee is all about. I hold my finish and the ball lands right at the sign. Again, every shot, try and hold your finish and work on your balance on the driving range, and it'll come a lot easier on the golf course. Let's go to the mid-iron now. We're going to hit a 6-iron. I'll use the same target, just try to hit it over it, although it won't be long enough. Again, the full routine is very important. Picking out our target and working on our balance. When I'm practicing, what I like to do is even hold my finish for about 3 seconds just to show that I'm in balance, and that's really helps me when I'm on the golf course. One more mid-iron. When I'm hitting the mid-iron, I also like to work the ball around with a hook or a fade. So let's hit a hook shot. Always good to practice a hook and a fade, because when you're on the golf course, you're not necessarily going to have straight shots every single time. So this shot, I'm going to hit a hook. Still use the same target. Align my body right of target, but the club face at the intended target, and just hit a hook. It's good to have good mental focus when you're practicing and work the ball around. This will help you create shots and work on your swing as well. Now we're going to hit a fade. We do just the opposite. We align our body left of target, but the club face still at the intended target. We're just going to hit a little soft fade. Right at the intended target. Now that we've covered the mid-irons, we're going to go ahead and hit the long irons. Today I'm going to hit a 2-iron. I'm going to change my target to the 225 sign. And again, go through the same routine. It's very important to have the same routine, especially when you're practicing. For me, it's a 3-step approach. Set the club down, take my stance, a couple waggles, and then I go. Another good thing to work on while you're practicing is work on what went wrong the day before if you played golf. Like if you were having bad problems slicing the ball or hooking the ball, try and work it the opposite way, and that'll get that muscle memory out. Let's hit one more long iron. Now that we've covered the long irons, we have 2 clubs to hit now, the fairway wood and the driver. Now we're going to hit the fairway wood, and what I'd like to concentrate on today is really staying down and staying behind the ball on the fairway wood, therefore to help the ball get in the air. We still have our same target, the 225. Go through my routine, and I'm going to consciously try to stay down a little bit longer. Had good flight on that ball, and that came from staying down. Let's hit a couple more, and then we're going to go to the driver. Now that we've hit the fairway wood, we're ready to go to the driver. It's basically the same swing, except in the driver, all we're going to do is just try to hit right through the ball. That's what we're going to try and do. I'm not trying to overswing with the driver. I'm just trying to take the motion of all the other clubs into the driver. That's what's going to help you increase your distance. You notice on my driver, I'm really working on my balance today. Just trying to hold my finish to my left side and watch the shot until it lands. Let's hit one more. It's always good to have that goal each time you hit a practice ball, whatever it may be. For me today, it was balance. Anyway, I hope this program has helped you in your golf swing, and definitely it will increase your distance. But just remember, when you're practicing, quality rather than quantity.